Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
The only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good album.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family. I can do this all day.
If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Matthew, we are back. I feel like we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but getting close to rounding out the summer. But I think we're going to be talking about one of the last couple of summer films to come out.
Yeah, and I think it's arguably to say this is probably the most talked about horror movie of the summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say so. The movie we're going to be talking about this week is Weapons, written and directed by Zach Cregger, who wrote and directed Barbarian that came out a few weeks ago. Not weeks ago. Nope, came out a few years ago. And it was kind of like took a lot of people by storm. It was like a sleeper hit that a lot of people enjoyed, myself included. It was a fantastic movie. And this movie, it was his next project, and it was a huge bidding war to get this film. I think we mentioned it at the end of last week's episode, but Jordan Peele with Monkey Paw Productions was part of that bidding war to try to get this film under their production company. Ultimately, it went to Warner Brothers, and then, if the rumors are true, Jordan Peele fired his management team because they weren't unable to secure this movie. Apparently, Jordan Peele really, really wanted this for Monkey Paw and Universal. So there was a lot of hype around this movie, obviously coming off the success of Barbarian. It stars Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams, and Amy Madigan. And yeah, this movie kind of took everybody by storm. It was like on every headline. The hype was real. Even the poster got a lot of attention because the kids are just running in that V formation. I mean, you can even see it in the poster of like, here's like this little story that's kind of setting the scene for you without even watching a trailer. This is honestly all you really need to know is in that poster. So I think it captivated a lot of people to really grab this engagement. But yeah, this is the movie we're going to be talking about, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I saw I have the note. I looked it up. The speculation that Jordan Peele fired his management team due to losing the bidding war for Weapons 2025 stems from a series of reports, but no definitive confirmation ties the two events directly. Here's a breakdown. Peele parted ways with his longtime managers, Joel Zadek and Peter Principato of Artists First, shortly after New Line Cinema won the rights to Weapons for $38 million in early 2023, outbidding Universal and Peele's Monkey Paw Productions by $7 million.
Wow.
Peele was reportedly eager to produce the film, even offering part of his contractual back end to secure it, which you mentioned, indicating his strong interest in Zach Cregger's script. Two narratives emerge. One suggests Peele was pissed at losing the bidding war, possibly blaming his managers for failing to secure it, especially since Principato also represented Cregger, raising potential conflict of interest concerns. The other account claims Peele and Universal were given a chance to match New Line's offer, but backed out due to budget concerns, suggesting a strategic retreat rather than anger. Cregger himself described the bidding war as stressful and high pressure, noting people were getting pissed, which fuels speculation about Peele's reaction. However, neither Peele nor his former managers have publicly confirmed the reason for the split, leaving the connection to Weapons unverified. Peele remains represented by CAA, and his next project, Him, set for the September 2025, shows he's moved forward professionally. So more than likely, but not confirmed. It's probably true. There's probably a lot of truth in there, but nothing that they're going to say publicly.
Yeah, very true. And also, after now watching the film, it definitely seems it would have fit very nicely into the Monkey Paw Productions library of films.
I wonder if the film would be any different if it went the other way, like with the
Oh, do
influence
you?
of. I wonder
I don't know. That's a good.
if because now I mean there's different people. There would have been a little bit different people involved. I don't know. It would have been interesting. It would have been to see because I think it would have been the same, but there would have been some variation. It would have been more towards the monkey paw style.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because there were. I mean, I'm not sure how much creative control Zach Cregger had with the film. Like how much was already done. Obviously, Warner Brothers backed the production of it, so. But I wonder how much say that they had part of this deal. Maybe he had final say. Maybe he had final cut. Who knows?
That's true.
Um, but a lot of questions surrounding it. But however, this is the movie we got. It's highly talked about film, including its box office, which I'm sure, which we'll be getting to as well.
Hmm.
But we're gonna be talking about that a little bit later into the show. We are gonna be having kind of a curated what you watching segment this week. We're gonna be talking about three movies before we get into weapons. And the first one we're gonna be talking about is uh, Final Destination. Thank you. I was like, what are we talking
What
about
are we
here?
doing? What are we
What are
doing
we
here?
doing? What are we talking about? Final Destination Bloodlines. We actually watched this. I actually just watched this, like as right before we record. You watched this on the plane, on our way to Vegas, which we did actually. We had a great time over in Vegas celebrating Stev's um bachelor party and his engagement, and
His
yeah, it was a lot
birthday.
of fun.
Yeah, we had a great time. What's really interesting is that of course, why would I watch? I'm thinking like, why would I watch Final Destination on a fucking plane heading to Vegas? And then little did I know, we were into the freaking stratosphere, and I was like, hey, this building we're in is the opening scene for Final Destination Bloodlines. I was like, wow, that's pretty scary.
You're like, this. I'm gonna die tonight.
It's like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Hey guys, should we like maybe do something else? Maybe we should go somewhere.
I'll meet you on the
Over,
first. I'll meet you on the first floor. Well, I'll be fine. Don't worry.
Ernesto's like going around corners, checking glass, see if it's breaking or not, and we're like, oh no, we're good.
But I think I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I think it is very reminiscent of like the original Final Destination. Like I don't know, it was a lot of setup. It was a lot of setup and payoff. Like never did I feel was it like it was a little campy, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was along for the ride. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think mainly because one, I don't remember much of the five that came before, five films, I believe.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that.
I mean, at the end of the day, they all kind of bundled together. You know what I mean? Like it's the same vibe of every. You get the gist after the first one or two movies. Is like there are kind of I don't want to say supernatural elements that are at play here, but
Yeah,
at the
I think that's fair to say. I mean,
supernatural, yeah,
yeah, I mean they're literally escaping death. They're death
yeah.
as this invisible entity that's making things happen.
But I guess the scary part about it is that it's literally around you. Like anything could cause your death, and I think that's the scary aspect about the Final Destination franchise is that it's not someone out to kill you. It's these random everyday items that can be used as a tool or a series of events that you have no control over to then ultimately, get you in your demise, not in a very um like organic way, but very like it just sounds that anyone can just get into a car accident and die that way. It's as scary as that, just on a grander cinematic scale to provide entertainment that it can be coming from any which way direction.
So I think it's that, but then like making that like a boogeyman, like
Yes.
making that an actual person who manifests those decisions, who decides when and if it happens. So like taking the element of chance away, but like these things to us, we just perceive them as like accidents or just freak accidents, but when really they're curated plans of demise.
Right. And ideally, like I don't know how, I think it's always part of the DNA of of this franchise. Like someone has a premonition we don't really understand why or how they have these premonitions of like people are going to die, and then the whole movie they're just trying to stop it, and that's pretty much every movie.
Yeah.
This movie, however, I think they had a different take on it, an interesting take on it. It's basically the same idea as all the other ones, but I don't know. I feel like this one was either more engaging. It's not really about the kills for me. It's the in betweens that are more interesting to me, or how things came about. Because you see one movie, you kind of seen them all. You can kind of tell when it's coming.
Hmm.
You can kind of tell when it's going to be a fake out. And then sometimes they do surprise you, where like you might have guessed one or two things wrong, or as the movie suggested in this one, they didn't give you all the information, so that's why this didn't happen. So I don't know, maybe because I was far removed from the franchise, and I've seen them all once,
Yeah.
maybe twice, and I'm not keeping up with it. It's not my favorite horror franchise, so like coming back to it, I kind of wrote it off originally, but then I saw a lot of positive reviews around it, and then excuse me, waited for it to come in to streaming, and I was like, okay, people said this was good, and I think I don't know, however many years it was since the last movie came out, and going into this one, it's like, oh, this is like I wouldn't call it nostalgia, but like this is familiar territory with a modern spin on it, and that's how I took it.
I also kind of enjoyed how it connected all the movies together. Like this is the movie is like basically like the explainer of why everything was happening. Every kill in Final Destination in every other movie is what has now been connected to this event because she
Is that
said,
right?
yeah. So like because it descended down to their descendants. So like now there's an entire bloodlines of people who are alive because of the people who lived in this event, because now they've gone on to have families with people who should have never existed. So but then that's tied to like the way I saw it is like that's the explanation for all the other movies because they were connected. Because then they show the plane. I'm sure that if I were to rewatch all the movies, I probably would have gotten more connections because they make reference to like certain events and certain things. I remember, the plane, and then and they're like,
Yeah.
well, these people were connected to this, who were could all singularly connected to this one event, and this is that event.
But it's weird because at this point, like, I mean, everyone is going to die. That is the thing. And but in this case, in this movie, in this franchise, it's people who, like to your point, who had cheated death, and they're coming after them because somebody had a premonition. But then, like, at what point do they determine? Because obviously, they weren't thinking about it all these years until the movie says to think about it. So like they were happy go lucky living their best lives until they were worried about it, or someone gave a reason to worry about it, and then they started getting a little bit of a frenzy. Which I feel like in some cases maybe paranoia is kind of feeding the beast in a way, because you're able to live a normal life if you're not thinking about it, because the where he just comes randomly to other people, they're freaking out about it, and then especially at the very end, we're like, oh, we're gonna go out and go to the prom, until the guy's like, well, you didn't technically die. He's like, what do you mean I didn't technically die? And it was a really random piece of dialogue at the very end, and it's like, well, yeah, well, technically your heart never stopped, and then all of a sudden the train just derails and kills them both. Like, that can't be a coincidence that you reveal this information to yourself the moment you're about to die. I mean, cinematically it works, I guess, but like maybe just the fear itself feeds chaos.
I think there's something to that because in the whole beginning of the movie with the grandma, like she lived the last of her life in paranoia until she
Mhm.
decided that the only way for her family to be safe was if she showed her. And but then once she died, she started the next set of events of the chain
Yes.
reaction because she was holding. So it seems like she was holding death at bay until she decided that because she was going to die anyway. So she already saw it happen.
Well, she said that cancer was going to get to her eventually, so I think she was just delaying or the inevitable because cancer was coming for her. So she knew that. So I think in her way, she was trying to protect her family, but then she also expedited the process for dying immediately rather than maybe a few months, weeks, months down the line, without having their family have this information. Um, but I loved that character, and I wish we explored her more, the
Yeah.
grandmother Iris, because to me she brought a little bit of comedy to it. Because like she was like talking to her granddaughter, and she saw the light trying to burst the planter into flames and everything. She's like, "I see you, bitch," and then she like knocks the thing out. It's like she's aware what we're seeing.
Yes.
It's almost like it's like a meta reaction to it, and I wish they explored that a little bit more because it makes like now the movie is showing the audience that something bad's gonna happen, but rather than being scared about it, you're always on top of it. I would have loved to see that explored, and I thought they were gonna do that with the grandmother because she was able to predict the series of events like a puzzle piece, and I thought we were gonna explore that more toward the end of the movie, rather than just going to the cabin and then them dying, being saved regardless. Like, it was a very anticlimactic ending for me when I feel like there could have been a line or could have been a series of events where she's like, "Watch out for here." Like they're literally running and escaping death at the same time because she was able to put the pieces together as they were happening, like she did earlier in the film.
I actually really I agree with you, and I almost like she could have made it to the end and like watched her daughter die, and then like what if like they said like when you fuck with death, because then they took the death took the brother who fucked with him, even though he wasn't
Right.
supposed to. He took both brothers. So what if at that point like she's been spending the whole movie saving everybody, and then at
Yeah.
one point death just like literally sets them up for the trap for the grandmother who's been fucking with death her whole life, has to watch her entire family die in front of her. Like just one epic kill, like one quick kill just takes them all out, and she watches them, and then like we still get the setup of her mom like saving them, but then
Yeah.
watching her die too, and then she dies.
Or even more, I like that, or even more haunting, maybe the granddaughter realizes that in order to like, or even the mother, because I think the mother was also poised in that direction too. The haunting fact that you always resented your or I guess in this case, the mother always resented her mother, the grandmother, of being the way that she was, but now fully understanding it, she decides to put herself into exile to save her family. So not really ending in the kids dying like what every Final Destination movie seems to just have them ending at the last second of the film, but rather you have someone holding down the fort so your family can live, as what they were suggesting that the film were going to do, or even going as far as the daughter the granddaughter maybe putting herself in exile to save her brother, so her brother doesn't die and
Mm.
he can live a normal life. And now she's kind of locked away in the cabin, but that's not really living. But you're kind of making that sacrifice. I think there were a lot of seeds that they planted that they could have kind of given us a little bit of a twist to what we've already known from the Final Destination franchise.
It just seems like they wanted the darker ending. I mean, we're talking spoilers here, but literally the end of the movie, like everyone dies.
Everyone
At the
dies,
end.
yeah.
Literally everybody
But I think
dies at the end of the movie.
Which I think that's the ending of every movie. I think they all die.
So I think they mentioned there's one movie where there's one survivor, and that's where they get the idea of stopping your heart, like stopping your
Oh,
heart and being brought back to life. So there's
right.
one person in the franchise who's lived.
They'll be in the sequel.
Yeah, he'll
And
be in
die.
the next one.
Which they've already said that they're making a Final Destination 7. And just to just kind of see where we're at box office wise, I don't really remember where this movie landed. Let's see. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. This movie had a budget of $50 million and it has a worldwide gross of $285 million. So I would say that did extremely well for itself. Like again, as Ernesto put this up, the movie opened to $51.6 million with a budget of $50 million. At the time
Dang.
of this recording, domestically, the movie has made 138 million domestically, 147.2 million internationally, with a grand total of $285.3 million. This was to me, and probably for maybe Warner Brothers, I believe this is. Yeah, Warner Brothers. A sleeper hit, man,
Yeah.
for a horror franchise that was basically dead. And to kind of revive it and give it this energy to make almost, $300 million off of a $50 million budget. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see the revival of this franchise.
Yeah. And also, I totally forgot about it. We did mention it that John Watts, the director behind the um, Spider-Man: Homecoming, No Way Home, no, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, the Tom Holland trilogy. He had a hand in making this film. I believe he
Wasn't he a
was
writer?
given story. I think he was given story credit, and he produced it. He definitely produced it. I'm just looking real quick to see if he was given a writer's credit. Um, he was, yeah, story. So he helped kind of build the
Mm.
foundation of the story, as well as a producer on the film. So some talent, some definitely talent behind there. Like Guy Busick, I remember that name sounds very familiar.
Why does that name sound familiar? That name does sound
Ah,
familiar.
yes, indeed. He's the writer behind Ready or Not and the reboot to Scream. Um, Not reboot, sorry. The Scream that came out in 2022. As well as Abigail. So basically, he works a lot with Radio Silence, the
Mm.
directing duo. But yeah, so he's no stranger to the horror film. He also did Scream and Scream 6. Yeah, worked a lot with the Radio Silence team. So yeah, and he's doing great work in the horror franchise of giving us something a little bit different. So that was a great get for him to be on the writing staff. So there was a lot of talent behind this movie, and I think it shows that like not only did it lean into the campiness of it a little bit, because some of it was like a little bit like cheesy in a way, and the
Yeah,
visual effects weren't amazing in this movie, but I think it got the point across, and it definitely I think it revived it a little bit,
I
and
agree.
so much so that they're making a sequel.
I mean, I agree. I mean, and the numbers don't lie. It's just a very turn your brain off, like entertaining movie. But I don't know, like some of the kills were still really interesting. Like the backyard one, I think the setup for, I really liked the setup. Like we all know, well, or we had an idea of what was going to happen. And then you get the clear fake outs with the rake and
Yeah,
but then there were just setups for, so what I was actually going to happen, you know?
right.
I mean, because
Yeah,
you see him in the two scenes before he pushes. They made it a point to show you that he pushed a button on the lawnmower,
yes.
and then we come back to it, and then that's ultimately the thing that kills him.
Yeah, and then they have this reoccurring unlucky penny
Hmm.
bit that was from literally from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end. Like that damn penny is just causing chaos.
But
Um,
that penny was the thing that started that whole tower to fall.
yes, yeah. Which I there's some things about that tower break, like the whole thing collapsing. I'm not buying it. Like parts of it, yes, but like I didn't think the whole thing was coming down.
Well, remember they had mentioned that
It
they
was
had
like
to they never reopened it because it had to be shut down because there were so many things that were wrong with it.
yeah, they did mention that they were 5 months ahead of schedule, so obviously they rushed it.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, is that a good thing? Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. Like it's not something I will honestly rave about, but for what it was trying to do, I think it succeeded.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, like this movie had no right to be as I guess entertaining as it is. Like it's hard for me to say that it was good, but I was entertained by it. I was never bored with it. So like I didn't have any expectations going into it, and I guess if anything, it met and slightly exceeded them. Or like because it could have been really cheesy and the acting could have been really bad too. So I think in some cases it got sold. And also the probably the worst kill in my opinion was the guy with the was it an MRI machine?
Oh yeah, because he had a Prince Albert there, so that's what dragged
Yeah.
him into the machine.
Yes,
It
the
would have
Prince
ripped off. It
Albert.
would have ripped off. It wouldn't have. I don't think it would have dragged him like everything else
No,
ripped off of him.
well everything else just kind of ripped out of him, like the nipple ring,
The
the
nose
nose
ring.
piercing.
Oof.
Like yeah, I think that would have also flown off as well, but they rather have killed him by a wheelchair instead.
Yeah. Well, they had the wheelchair slam into him and like basically drive him into the machine.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, what's your 5-star rating on this?
uh, maybe 3.5.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like a
Solid.
solid 3.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
solid three and a
It's
half.
not a bad movie by any means.
No, no, it was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's talk about the next movie, which is also another film that is taking by storm. K-pop Demon Hunters, the newest animated film from Netflix and Sony Animation. This movie for me kind of came out of nowhere. The movie dropped on Netflix, and all of a sudden, I saw a lot of people doing covers of the songs, and I was like, "What? What is this?" And then I saw it. I was like, "Oh, it's from this movie." And then I looked into it, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't just a movie." People are like, "This is a new religion, apparently." For a lot of people, and so much so that I believe the song "Golden" was number one in the top 100 Billboard chart. You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. And then it's getting so much popularity that Netflix is actually not re-releasing it, but they're releasing this movie in theaters as a sing along because of how popular it's been going on Netflix. Um, but yeah, it's honestly, I was pleasantly surprised of how well this movie is, how great this movie is. And I don't think it was on anyone's radar of the quality and the music that came out of this film.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So this is Golden by Hunter X, which is this is the fictional group of the girls who are singing. They peak position reached number one on Billboard Hot 100 for the week of ending August 16th, 2025, dethroning Alex Warren's Ordinary. It held number one for 1 week before dropping to number two. Debuted at number 81 in July, and then steadily climbed to 23, 6, 4, 2, and then 1. Let's see. It garnered 31.7 million official US streams, up 9%. Wow.
Is this just the song or the movie?
And this is just the song Golden. Just the song Golden. So some milestones. First K-pop song by a female-led group to hit number one in the Hot 100, marking the 9th K-pop associated number one overall, following BTS and Jungkook. Number one. First number one by a fictional act since Encanto's We Don't Talk About Bruno. And the first girl group number one. And the first girl group number one since Destiny Child's Bootylicious in 2001. First non-debuting song to exceed 30 million weekly US streams since Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Luther in March of 2025. Some global impact topped the Billboard Global 200 UK single charts, second K-pop number one after Gangnam Style, and charts in Australia, Germany, Hong Kong, Malaysia, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, South Korea, Sweden, Taiwan, and more. In South Korea, it achieved a perfect all kill and broke records for hourly perfect all kills. I don't know what that means in terms of music, but it seems like it's important. Golden is the lead single from K-pop Demon Hunters, the animated musical fantasy about Hunter X. So Hunter X is the group, and then the fictional group, they are the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right.
They use their
and
music
then
to
as
battle
far
demons.
as sorry.
No. Netflix fourth most watched film ever, 158.8 million views. Wow.
Yeah, I'm reading here that K-pop Demon Hummer has become Netflix's most watched animated film of all time, with 210.5 million views as of at the time of this recording, making it the second most watched Netflix film overall, behind Red Notice, which starred Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. The film has set records for weekly viewership, becoming the first to reach 20 million views for 4 consecutive weeks, and holding the number one spot on Netflix English films list for several weeks after its June 20th release. Crazy.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, and you know what? Just as we start to talk about it, like, I get it. The movie's very entertaining. The music is very good. Like, the music is literally the best part of the movie, and it's in my one critique is that when they're speaking, my assumption is Korean. I don't know what language I assume is if they would have the English subtitles, So like, because
Yeah.
there's certain parts of the film where he like just harmonizes something to her, or like they're just like, I don't know, they're just talking, but they're singing it. I almost wish I knew, just because 95% of the movie is in English. So
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have those subtitles, just to have that context of what they're saying.
I did see somebody on TikTok, I believe, like translating some of the Korean, like even the lyrics. They just translate it real quick of what it means within the song.
That's cool.
But to your point, I think it would have, just benefited. I mean, it's a twofold. Like I don't mind kind of having you do the research to figure out what it means if you don't know understanding, but to the context of a subtitle, if you already have it on, just kind of putting it in there because when you have the subtitles on, it does show it in Korean. It doesn't show it um
Yeah, it doesn't show
in
it in
English.
English.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it does, a little extra legwork if you really care to figure out what the meaning is within the lyrics of the song.
I did in the
Uh,
moment, but I know enough just to talk about it now. But I don't know if I'm gonna
yeah,
look it up.
that's fair. That's fair. But I think I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. I
Yeah,
think it was very engaging. The animation looks gorgeous.
yeah, it's
Um,
very pretty.
kind of a sleeper hit from Sony Animation, and also just never sleep on Sony Animation. They've put out banger after banger for the last couple of years now, and I feel like all the talk is always with whatever DreamWorks and Disney's doing. But I mean, aside from Spider Verse, not a lot of people talk about the films that come out of Sony Animation. And now I think if anything, if Spider-Man was like the one that kind of put him on the map on a larger scale, this proves that like, hey, they got 2 hits now. And
Yeah,
they've also been putting out bangers for a while now, but this is like the second major hit movie that they've produced. Maybe we shouldn't sleep on this film studio anymore.
I mean, they should have. I mean, Spider Verse won, so they should know. I mean, and I liked how that this is there. It's that same kind of style as Spider Verse. That same like the animation style is very similar between both films. But for me, I think it kind of just hits on a lot of different fronts. I think the animation is gorgeous to look at. The stories, like it's very engaging. It's very it's very entertaining. It's kind of a movie of like kind of teaching kids about like dealing with self-hate and shame. So I actually like that there's an underlying theme and it's not just popcorn. So like there's great music, beautiful animation, there's actually a story with a lesson to teach kids. So like it's a kid movie that teaches kids a lesson. So like already in my book, that puts it ahead of like a lot of other things. And then it's something that you could easily like the rewatchability on this is really high. Solid 90 minutes.
Super high.
You can just put it on in the background and just have the music. And I think a lot of that probably plays to the streams. Is it may not even be new people streaming. I bet a lot of that is like restreams. It's just people constantly replaying this movie because it's a great one just to put on in the background, and you can just kind of just vibe to the music and like, oh, I've already seen this part, but let me pop back in, let me watch this song. Kind of like The Greatest Showman, like the very similar.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point, especially for the movie to be engaging as it is. I'm sure a lot of parents are just putting it on for their kids because they love it so much. And then they can like, okay, this will occupy them for 90 minutes, or this is their new favorite movie. And so yeah, and then you can get more engaged. Or probably there's a song at least every 15 minutes in this movie,
Yeah.
at the very least. And especially at the very beginning, there's like one every 10 minutes. Like they get like 3 back to back because you have the opener, you have the golden, and then you have the soda pop when the demons come in and
Oh
pretend to
yeah.
be a K-pop band. Like that was all within the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like that it operates quick. Um and the music, it slaps, man. I'm telling you that, Ernesto, I'm calling it now. I'm calling it right now.
Uh-oh.
Timestamp me if you must. I'm gonna go as far as say this. Golden is going to win Best Original Song at the Oscars next year.
So you're locking that in now.
Now.
Okay.
I'm locking it in now that it's going to be the winner of Best Original Song for next year. There is no song out there that I can think of. I mean, there's probably many songs I haven't even heard of yet for movies that haven't even been out yet. That can compare to the level of that. And what's crazy is that Disney and the marketing team behind Disney and the voters of the Academy screwed up when they didn't put "We Don't Talk About Bruno" in like the original song conversation, they instead gave it to a different song, and I'm sure they promoted that one a little bit more. So much so that they had to bring out a special performance to for just solely about "We Don't Talk About Bruno" because it was so popular. There is no way that song is going to be performed or not going to be performed in the Oscars unless they don't do performances of original songs anymore, which they didn't. I don't think they did last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think they omitted that last year.
So I'm gonna say it's gonna be nominated. I don't know if it's gonna win, only because of Wicked. They're really, remember, they're gonna have two original songs.
Two or three, you're right.
It's either two or three original songs just for this film, for the exact purpose for wanting to be nominated. There has to be at least, there's gonna be at least one Wicked song, and
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good competition between this one and probably Wicked.
Because last Oscars, no original song was because it wasn't original.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So that's a fair argument. But I'm gonna double down. I'm telling you right now, the Golden song, first of all, it's a fucking banger. That is a banger of a song. I've listened to this album more than I want to say I have. It's a good album. It's a great album.
It's really good. I actually will give you. It's very good.
I actually enjoy the last song that they performed.
Take down.
This is what it sounds like. Like
the takedown song, or
no. It's the last song of the movie. Here, I'm gonna look it up real quick. It's called what it sounds like. And it's like this is what it sounds like when I'm being truthful. Like there's a lot of, and it builds so well. So does Golden.
Yeah,
but I feel like this one has a like this is what it sounds like, and then like they within the lyrics of the song, and then they use the phrase "this is what it sounds like this is what the voices inside when I'm whatever along the lines of like I'm the demons are no longer inside of me. I'm out on my true self.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what I am, and this is what it sounds like.
Like this is what
song.
It's a part of me. That I did like that. It like, see, that was another great thing. Is like the music is the exposition of what's happening, and it like each song furthered the story. So like that was that point where they all come together, and then she's talking. Literally, the song's talking about her accepting her demon self being part of herself, and then that's what brings them back together and brings the light back out, and then they fight the fire demon thing.
And this is like also like, if you want to look at it even further, this is like, the demons themselves is the secrets that you keep inside, the lies, there's a lot that she was going on. So it's not just there. Yes, there's physical demons in the film that they were set out to destroy. But there were also inner demons that even the other guy who was like, yes, I'm a demon. However, like I'm not a bad person. Well, he says that he is, and he sacrificed himself. But like, there was some good in him, and it's just kind of showing the reverse angle of it. It's like on the outside I look bad, but on the inside it's good. And then in her case, like on the outside I'm good, but on the inside I got some dark secrets that I don't want to, I don't want to let out. But then it's only true when you're being your true self and you don't lie. And like, it's helpful, a good message for kids at the end of the day.
But I think this is what also makes it so successful, is that even I didn't even think about that, but there's so many themes that's just relatable, like giving kids a physical manifestation of something to think about internally. Like think about, like, look at a physical demon and think about it as your inner demon.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it works. I think that's what makes this movie really good. Why it's so good. Just another reason why it is so successful.
Yeah, I think there is no question that this movie is going to be up for Best Animated Feature. I don't think it's going to win. I won't go as far as say that, but I think it would definitely be in the conversation of Best Animated Movies of the year. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other animated movies we saw this year that could be up for that conversation as well. I am drawing a blank on the animated films that we watched this year.
Have we really
we
done
actually
any
reviewed.
animated? Have we really done any animated films this year?
Because even like Disney animation didn't. I think the last big one we talked about was Elio.
Oh, well, that was that this year or last? That was this
That
year.
was this year. Yeah, that was a few weeks
So
ago.
Elio.
Elio. Yeah, yeah, we did Elio. A lot of live action remakes, obviously. But yeah, I'm looking at our list right now. That was the first movie we actually reviewed this year that was animated. No, I feel like that's hard to believe. There's no, we gotta talk about more. That's
Well, we got some.
that's crazy if we didn't.
We're gonna have some animated films coming up.
We have what?
Neja 2.
So yeah, Nijai 2. That's a great point. That movie, we'll be talking about that movie very, very soon.
Yeah.
The movie has made over $2 billion worldwide, kind of taken the nation or certain parts of the world by storm. It's about to get a re-release here, an English dub version here in the US that's coming to theaters this week. So yeah, that is definitely one that's been taken by storm. I know Elio was in the conversation. I feel like I'm missing one. There's a movie that might have came out earlier this summer. There's no way that we didn't see another animated movie, but I'm looking at my list here and I'm not seeing much, which is interesting. Warfare Sinners, Amateur, Count Two, Thunderbolt, Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, I guess a lot of the kid friendly movies came in the form of live action remakes
Yeah.
rather than
Animation.
like fully animated films. Huh. Wow. So maybe the competition's scarce this year.
Maybe.
That's kind of yeah,
Well,
that's kind of crazy to think about. Um, yeah, it kind of took me off guard. I didn't realize I didn't watch that many animated films this year. Well, there you go. So yeah, I then maybe this has a better chance of winning it.
man, I might retract my statement.
But I do think Nijai 2, most likely from everything that we've heard about it and the box office success, I think it's going to be hard to ignore
Yeah,
for the Oscars
for
or the
foreign
Academy,
and for animated,
sure.
probably.
Sorry.
Maybe for foreign and animated. I don't know. This is me pre-seeing the movie, so we'll see.
Right, right. But yeah, I give this like a 4.5 out of 5.
I was the same. I was thinking the exact same.
Yeah, this is a great addition. Again, a sleeper hit of the summer. Like, who knew that? I mean, even we talked about this last week, but like Happy Gilmore 2 was getting all of the Netflix streaming numbers, but it never surpassed this. Like, this was still above it, which is kind of crazy because you would think like movies coming into Netflix this summer, Happy Gilmore 2 would have generated a lot of attention. And it did, and it definitely did very well for Netflix. However, I don't believe it ever surpassed uh the popularity of K-pop Demon Hunters. And the amount of people that are doing covers of this song is like, I think a sequels has to be in the works. It would be really silly if they
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
continue the story.
It's like, you better start writing another album. We got another movie to make.
Oh, but also, I mean, they should really. I mean, they're already doing it now. Very quickly, they're putting this movie in theaters for a weekend as a sing along,
Mm,
and Netflix should. They really should start considering putting some of their movies in theaters
more often.
instead of more often. I know that it was Frankenstein just announced. Netflix's Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's new movie. In November, it's gonna be in select theaters. It come November, and it was a huge push because a lot of people wanted to see that movie in theaters, including myself.
Yeah, I do too.
So hopefully, select theaters isn't just the Netflix theater in California.
Oh,
Like,
that would suck.
let's spread that would suck. Like, not maybe select theaters means a decent amount of theaters around the country, not just LA and New York, but we'll see. But I think it's a smart move for Netflix to put this movie out as a sing along in theaters. I think it's gonna make some money. Give it a few months. We're gonna see merch. We're gonna see vinyls. They're gonna push this shit out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're gonna push it out. Netflix didn't know what they had. I'll tell you what. But yeah, great animated film out of the summer. It's completely unexpected. And the last film we're going to talk about before we dive into weapons is Bob Odenkirk's new movie, Nobody 2. from Universal, and it was bad.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It made me very sad because I enjoyed the first one, but I think
lot.
I did. Like in this one, I rewatched the first one in preparation for this one, and then it was just a stark reminder of how much better the first one is. It's just it like tried to capture the magic of the first one, but then it went too far campy, which is what a lot of these action movies do. Like John Wick has his vest is bulletproof. He can get hit by cars and just walk away. Like it's the same shit.
I feel like, however, John Wick started grounded,
Yeah.
and then it just like it further deepened the lore of the Continental and the whole the the secret assassins group. I forgot the name of it. Maybe it is the Continental. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen those movies, but
Yeah.
like it went deeper into the lore of it all and made it like, and then it also expanded it on a grander scale from where it started. This movie, he's like, you know what made the first movie good? Let's not do that
At all.
at all. I was extremely disappointed with Nobody 2. Like, and also it was a quick movie.
Yeah. Well, the first
Hour
one's 90
20.
minutes. They're both 90 minutes. They're both like I think one's an hour 29 and one's like 131 or something like. They're very similar run times. Or was the first one longer?
That let me see. The first one was an hour 32, and the second one, to your point, is an hour 29. So there's a 2-minute difference. However, this movie felt extremely quick. Like it went so quick. I took a nap and realized we're already at the end of the movie. like while I was watching it, and I feel like I didn't miss jack shit.
No, like it just
Like,
goes full crazy. Like I mean, they have like a samurai sword fight at the end, and he just like slices the guy's head in half, and Sharon Stone gets shot in the eye with a tranquilizer dart because his wife just happened to be, she's gonna go for a walk and just happens to end up exactly where she needed to be at that exact moment. I don't know.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the director. We actually reviewed one of his films earlier this year. It was Timo Tai Janto. I probably butchered that name, but he was the director behind.
It was a foreign film, right?
It was a foreign film, yes. Where's the movie? The director behind The Shadow Strays.
Yes.
Excuse me. Which was a very campy, very bloody action film. And the story was not a strong suit, but however, there was a lot of crazy action set pieces in that movie that made it entertaining. So the same director behind that did Nobody 2, which is an interesting pivot, in my opinion. And I think it definitely leans into the campiness of some of its action set pieces. I feel like they took what they believe was the draw of the first movie, which is Bob Odenkirk being a badass, and then they took that, and then they just only use that as the basis of their story, rather than leaning on the substance of the original film that gave it the allure of why people enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. Like I mean, and the set pieces just weren't as good in this one as they were. Like to me in the first movie, the bus scene, that's the best fight scene of the entire movie. And like it's just there were a lot of, it almost was like still very similar to the first one because like they end in like this, not in the warehouse but in the carnival. So in the first movie he takes the warehouse and then turns it into like a Home Alone death trap, and they do something very similar in the second one. Although the one part I did really enjoy is when the whole thing that kicks it off when he slaps his daughter in the back of the head. Like I felt the hairs stand up on the back of my head, on the back of my neck when that happened. And then he goes in and beats his ass. He goes, "How do you like that? How do you like that?"
Yeah, he just starts smacking him in the back of the head. I feel like the part that bothered me the most was that the inciting incident made, like, they were already hostile against his family for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like
Colin
you just
Hanks.
are like you just off the bat, like these people suck here. They're just here to pick a fight. Like there was no reason for the police officer or the sheriff to like give Bob Odenkirk the mean eye for what? Looking at him? Like he looked at him because he was reminiscent. Well, he was looking in that direction because he was reminiscent of the good times he was having. Then the sheriff happens to be there. He's like, "You got a problem?" He's like, "What?
What?
What?" Like he didn't do anything. And then he's just there waiting for his food. And then he's like, "I have my eye on you." It's like, but he didn't do anything. And then yeah, obviously there is a good reaction for him to start a fight when the other guy, for no reason whatsoever, hits his daughter in the back of the head. Not to mention you have this dumbass teenager who was like, "Hey," like, which was also another awkward scene where it has some girls looking at him playing whatever game he was playing or the basketball game. He's like, "You want some tickets?" And then the dude was like, "Oh, you're giving my girl tickets?" It's like, what kind of beef is this?
How about you say thank
We're
you,
fighting
bitch?
over what, 10 tickets? What are we doing here?
Like, I don't even
Like
fucking
that-
live here.
Yeah. We're really gonna be fighting over 10 tickets? Yes, I understand. Like, and then the guy, like the security guy's like, your son has a problem for picking fights, ruin his pitching arm. And then, like, again, completely uncalled for as they were already leaving to just hit his daughter in the back of the head. That none of it made sense to me.
Oh, that made sense to me. I was like, yep.
Well, sorry, like that particular part made sense, but all of it,
Oh, yeah.
all of it to just start the initial incident made zero sense because I was already pulled out of the scene when we're fighting over 10 tickets that he won from a basketball game. And then just the idea of the carnival aspect of it, it's like, I don't know. It's like, obviously the wife knows what he's doing, but like he feels bad that he's out late at night because it's not even the fact that he's killing people. That doesn't bother anybody. It's just the fact that he's not home and being distant from his family is the inciting incident of even going on this vacation in the first place. And then you have like these awful people who live in this town, and then eventually he needs to force himself into saving the city. I don't know what they were doing. And then when Sharon Stone popped in, is like, "You're in this movie? Why?
Why are you here? And why are you this crazy woman?" Like, why?
Yeah, like none of it made sense. And I knew that I think Colin Hanks, I think that's Tom Hanks's
Son, yeah.
son. Yeah. Like when he was like, "All right, they said no," and then she was like, "You kill him, he's useless."
He's
I was
kind
like,
of
what
annoying.
a fucking what?
She was like, he's kind of an ass, or he's kind of annoying, or some shit.
Yeah,
And then
and
they
they
just
just kill him
blast
on the
him.
spot. And then, I love Christopher Lloyd, you know that, but he's just I don't know what he's doing in this movie.
It's a wacky old man. That's what he is.
Wacky old man. And then like you have RZA, is it
RZA?
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 RZA, yeah.
Yeah.
Comes back out of nowhere to join the fight with a katana, and then he's like a stupid cheesy line. It's like, never bring a machete to a katana fight. And it's like, what are you
What?
talking about?
It's like, do people say that?
uh yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I was checked out pretty early in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted it. I really wanted it to be better. Unfortunately. The first one is still really
Yeah.
good, though. The first one still holds up.
Well, I think there was also a little bit of a mystery there too, because at the beginning of the movie they established that he was just your average guy. His family just thinks he's a coward for when all those people broke in, but in actuality, he was just suppressing all of that energy because he's trying to be a good person. And then the whole movie was like you kind of get these remnants of like he was part of this secret organization of assassins, basically very similar to John Wick. And you have these crazy fight styles, and then throughout the movie, you see that he's slowly getting involved back again. And I feel like this second movie didn't even lean to any of that.
Yeah, because
Instead, we have
they burst that bubble. They burst that bubble. They can't relive that. They can't recapture that magic. I mean, when like he has that realization to his family in the first one, and he just like puts him in the basement, and he like opens this lock thing, and he's like, "Don't call 911," and then like this metallic door shuts, and then all hell breaks loose. Like that's a fucking great
yeah,
scene.
yes, yeah. That I mean, the film is really, really good. Like the
Yeah,
first movie, like it lands really well, especially for Bob Odenkirk for a role that we never really seen him in before. I think that helped. It's like, oh, fucking Bob Odenkirk is a badass.
yeah, he could
Um,
whip some ass.
yeah, and then I don't know. I feel like yes, you can expand on that. I'm not asking for the same movie, but you could have still delivered the same substance. We could have continued the family dynamic, but just not in this way because it felt extremely campy, especially toward the end when you're right. It's like a Carnival Home Alone scene where you have a lot of your movie being built up to like setting these traps, and then you have all these goons that are like dumbasses, like they're just kind of running in the direction of the trap, and these people are like, especially in the funhouse mirror scene where they're just shooting every time they see a mirror. It's like you guys know where you are, right? Like
It's like, aren't you
we're
special
just gonna be
forces? Like, you're supposed to know some shit. Not know. You're not like you're not a complete idiot. You're not supposed to be. Like,
right. And also the same token of like they're gonna what were they gonna do? Beat him up on a like on that duck boat with all those people? Did they not give a shit?
well, they
But
fought,
they
and then nobody turned, and then at no point did anybody on the boat turn around, or did we reference the fight happening on the boat? It's just like a
well,
thing that happened.
before that fight, because he was about to go on the boat with his family, and he decided to not go on the boat. But like, say if he did, was all those people were going to fight him with a bunch of people on that boat? Were they gonna also go on the boat as well? If it wasn't for him to not go on that boat, to go to an emptier boat, uh, then yeah, then you had that whole scene played out, which I don't know. I felt like it was silly.
I mean, he cut his fucking
Like
finger
those
off.
people, yeah,
Just like John Wick. Exactly like John Wick. Same finger too.
yeah, same finger too.
I'm pretty sure. Oh no,
Um,
no. I think it was his trigger finger. Right? Wasn't it
it,
like his index finger? I don't
I
remember
mean,
now. Nah, I don't
no,
remember.
no,
Now
it
I
was
don't know
his
for
pinky.
sure. Was this his
It was his
pinky?
pinky. That guy, yeah. Which I think it would have been really funny, or at least lean to the campiness that we saw like a fish eat it
Yeah.
when when Bob Odenkirk was like because they pushed him off the
Yeah.
water and he came back. It would have been fantastic if he came back with his finger or came back with the fish to like stick it down his throat, grab his finger, toss the fish or whatever, or just threw the fish at the person,
Yeah, or slap, or
or
use the fish to slap
something
him.
stupid,
That
or slap him with a fish.
So then, would this movie had been better if they had even gotten like even more campy? Do you feel like they were just trying to walk that middle line too much? Like, should they have gone full camp and like done like? Because I thought that it's funny you say that. I thought the exact same thing. I thought he was going to come up with the fish in his mouth to get his finger back.
I think it was such a big difference from the first movie that I would just wanted something similar. Instead, they went full camp with it, and I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much. Also, like there was no substance in anything that was happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so there was that. And then to your point at the very end, where like she comes out of nowhere, and then it makes it seem like that they met while he was being like they met while they were both being assassins.
So mom,
Like
so mom was also suppressing her assassin side. Sure,
right, whatever.
whatever.
And then like who is the person calling them? Like I believe the first movie ended the same way. Or it started and ended the same way where he was like being interrogated and somebody calls the police officer or the investigators or whoever um and or the detectives, and they call him up and say, "Hey, he's free to go." Who are these people?
Somebody in the government. That's what
Yeah.
I had figured. And then we
Like
have
I
this
would like
barber, and then we have this barber character who's there, and then isn't he also supposed to be paying back all this money back to the Russians? Like whatever happened to that? Like we just never revisited that. It doesn't matter anymore.
that's not important. And also like you have this badass sheriff that ends up helping him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like
He like was being an asshole to him in the beginning and tells him to get out. and then they become BFFs, and then they get trashed together. Like that guy can
Yeah.
fucking drink because they were sitting in that one scene, and I was he must have had like 3 or 4 like glasses of that liquor. Like he just took it
Yeah.
like it's juice. Like, I mean, it probably was juice. I mean, on set, but I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't make it seem believable that he was drinking that much liquor in that much short amount of time.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it felt like a cheap sequel.
It was. It absolutely was.
Like there was no reason to make this movie, and I feel like the movie didn't even give enough reason for this movie to exist. So much so that it didn't really do well in the box office, which I expected that it was at least going to. At the time of this recording, the movie opened to only $9 million. It opened in third place. Um, and uh, and yeah, at the time of this recording, it made $11.4 million domestically, only 5 internationally, with a grand total of 16.4 worldwide. And it had a budget of maybe let's see, uh, had a budget of $25 million.
Mm.
So it's a really low budget of a movie, but and it feels like it would have been an easy win if it collected that. But it doesn't look like they're even going to get that much out of it. The first movie, however, had a budget of $16 million and it made $57.5 million worldwide. So definitely a better investment there, but also it was just a better movie in general.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
clearly, they had enough to warrant a sequel, but it didn't look like they had much of a story to go off of, and that's sad because there was a lot of good stuff in the first movie they could have leaned into. Instead, they gave us a cheap sequel. They gave Bob Odenkirk a paycheck, and that's that's what this movie feels like to me, which is sad because I feel like I wish sequels were not this.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. And then, they're definitely not going to make a third one because this one did so bad.
Right. Yeah, or they do. Like, I mean,
Or
I don't, or they do. I don't know. I agree. Like, I feel like this was a blueprint of showing you that, like, yeah, we had a good standalone movie. We had nowhere to go after that. And this second movie kind of proves that the writers behind it didn't know what to do with it. So we're just going to give you more action, more Bob Odenkirk, and that's it. Like, the rest is just whatever. So,
It's
for
very
me, 5
unfortunate.
stars. This is landing at like a 2 for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say a 2 or 2.5, but I'll meet you at a 2.
Yeah, I don't see much. Yeah,
I got nothing.
it's very. Yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad since we both really enjoyed the first one,
Yeah.
which was 4 years ago, believe it or not, which is crazy. But yeah, anyway, so that is all of the stuff we've been watching. So now we're going to be diving into our spoiler review of the week, which I guess technically all these movies we've spoiled. But either way, our main review of the week, our main spoiler review of the week, which is Weapons, like we mentioned before, written and directed by Zach Cregger, the director and writer behind Barbarian. Ernesto, your thoughts on Weapons?
So when I walked out of the movie, I was like, that was really weird. But I liked it weird. Like literally, somebody stopped me outside of the theater. He looked at me, he goes, we both walked out together. He goes, "Did you like that?" like almost like if he wasn't sure either.
Hey, Complete Stranger, was that a thing you liked?
No, this is a real thing that happened. Like he fucking stopped
Wow.
me and said, Did you like that movie? I go, yeah. And I mean the same thing I'm telling you. I was like, yeah, it was it was weird, but it was good. But like the more that I think about it, the more it kind of like different things kind of like reveal itself. Or I feel like I made a connection that I didn't initially get. Like it's one that I feel like sticks with you for a while and like makes you think about some of the themes and everything that's in the movie. Like I enjoyed the kind of like horror comedy fusion. Like it wasn't like complete comedy, but it also wasn't complete horror. It was just kind of this kind of weird middle ground. And to me, it for the story, I think it worked. I really enjoyed the cinematography. I thought the cinematography was absolutely beautiful. Like I was telling you, like some of the tracking shots they have, especially when like Julia Gardner's when she's into the liquor store and
Yeah.
the wife starts following her, and then like she comes the way she comes in and out of frame, or when she's watching the house and who we later find out is the mom, comes up to the car to the window, and the shot is still, but then it goes, and then all you do is hear the car door open, and then you see the scissors come into frame. And I just think like that scene is just so chilling because like you know what's happening, but yet they don't need to show you everything that was happening. So there was just a lot of effective storytelling told specifically through like the cinematography, even as far as like the house. Like when you learn about Alex at the end of the movie, like when you first see his house, like it's very light, it's very bright, it's very vibrant. But then as soon as Gladys comes in is when it starts, like even like the lighting immediately starts to change. Everything's dark. Even before they board up all the windows, it's just very dark, and it's just a lot of shadows, no curtains drawn. Like it was so ambiguous about like what this thing is and how it happens. And at first it almost like deterred me from like liking it further. But then I feel like once you start to understand like the different themes and like these unresolved subplots, they don't connect to the direct link to what the story of what's happening. I think they link just to the themes of what's happening. Of like, so you have Justine's alcoholism, Julia Gardner's character, and Paul's cheating. Those are like abuse cycles, like people who deal with different abuses, and then they continue to self-sabotage. Like, Paul cheating on his wife, or Julia Gardner calling him to come over, even though she knows it's a bad idea. So like she caused that thing to happen, but and then Gladys tells him, it's like they're infected with consumption. So it's like that, I felt like that was kind of related, like that disease, those things are also consumption. He's consuming another woman, she's consuming alcohol, and then consuming him.
Yeah, I agree with you as far as like the characters and their progression were kind of driven by the themes of the film rather than maybe pushing the story forward a little bit, if that makes sense. Like even to the point of like Julia Garner's character and her uh what's it, alcoholism,
Yeah.
or her addiction's the word. Her addiction to alcohol and or infidelity, even because she knows what she was doing was wrong. Like none of that really had anything to do with the movie when you think about it. But
No,
I think
not
they were
at
just
all.
but they were playing. I guess they're just giving us context to. I'm not sure really exactly for the larger part of the story, but I guess they're just giving us something to showcase that like these people are not who they seem to be, and maybe everyone can be. It's maybe just furthering along that everyone is a suspect in this particular story until like proven it. And it's like the more of the story kind of plays out, because in the beginning you kind of feel for Miss Gandy's, like for her character, because like you want to believe her at first that she has nothing to do with this, and then you realize like, okay, well, she's not as squeaky clean of a person as you would think she is. She's definitely going through her own troubles, but at the end of the day, like I feel like those are just like red herrings to kind of uh, give the twist of what the events of this movie actually happened. But I don't think those themes. I don't know if sure if it added much to the story. It just kind of develops the character, almost like a little mini movie within the larger movie.
And I think that that's what it is that I think a lot of it is subliminal, like the actual kids disappearing, like yeah, that's a main through line, like that's the narrative to get us through. But I think
Yeah,
it's more of telling us about these people and the things that they're dealing with, and that it's similar to like a parasite being infected, you being infected with a parasite, like these kids
right.
are. Like she's infected with with infidelity, she's infected with alcoholism, and even like like having a parasite be like the main theme throughout the movie. When Julia, when she's having her dream sequence, like literally her lesson that she's giving is about parasites. When the husband is about to eat, when the husbands are about to eat lunch together, they're watching a documentary about parasites.
Mhm.
So, and then it's just, to me, it was all, I felt like it was all trying to relate to like this like motif together. Like, you know, the drinking, the documentary, the lesson. And I felt like I wanted more. I felt like there needed to be more exposition for that connection. Like I saw the connection, but I felt like there wasn't enough to completely tie it together. Like there wasn't enough symbolism throughout it.
Yeah, there is a part of me that does believe that, like, I agree with you. I think I did want more out of it, and I think I like the setup more than I do the payoff, because throughout the movie, I was engaged. I think what really helped was you got the different perspectives of each character. You followed Julia Garner's character, then I believe you followed Josh Brolin, and then you followed uh Aldrin Hilliard, the police officer. Then you followed Austin Abrams, who was the crack addict, and then eventually, then you get to Alex, who is the child. Right? I believe that's all 5 people we followed.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think we follow anybody else. So, like, I like that the presentation of the film, because you're getting different perspective, you're learning more information. It's a good way to keep the audience engaged on, like, here's a sequence of events that played out under this perspective. Now here's another one, and then you're getting more context of the whole film as a whole. Until you get to Alex, who kind of reveals the main plot of the movie, which I don't know if I'm even now buying into it. The fact that it was just a straight up witch at the end of the day, collecting souls of the youth to give her strength. It felt very cartoony in a way, where I feel like the mystery was a great driver of this movie, but the actual payoff, the what is really going on, wasn't as interesting as the way you decided to set up your movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. But I think that the reason is because the movie is more subliminal than it is literal. Like, yeah, we have
Yeah.
this literal thing that we're dealing with, but that's just to highlight like what he's actually talking about. And the only reason I say that is because like there's so many, he's done so many interviews like just through on TikTok and just
Mhm.
like just basic interviews. And he's the movie's based off his personal inspirations from him dealing with alcoholism in his own family dynamics. He shared
Mm.
that he's a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober for 10 years, and his father died from cirrhosis, informing the film's portrayal of addiction as a foreign entity that inverts family roles and leads to neglect or abuse, which we see through the parents. Like, if that's a theme of them being led by abuse, think about somebody who's like a zombie just sitting there in this dark papered house waiting for their next hit or their next instruction so they can feel like themselves again. There, according to Screen Rant, they say that a lot of Alex's story is like almost autobiographical to his own. Obviously, not the entity growing in, but just dealing with growing up with an alcoholic parent, where addiction acts like a parasite, consuming lives and creating cycles of abuse. So, I mean, we see that self sabotage or just constantly going back to the thing that you know you shouldn't be dealing with, you shouldn't be going to.
That's interesting, because on first, like, I only saw the movie once, but as I was walking out of the movie, I didn't see the main theme as being addiction. To be honest with you, like, that's not how I walked out of this movie thinking. It's like, oh, this movie was a subliminal messaging or the themes of addiction. Yes, there was with Julia Garner's character, but I didn't feel that way as the overall theme of the movie. What I actually took away from it more was, like, this could be a very um like, kind of a psychological horror on in a different take, as if a school shooting was happening. Like, what a, your
Mm.
teacher walking in here and all of the kids are gone, as if, there was a school shooting happening, and the people that do survive from a school shooting are never the same again, as illustrated at the end of the movie, where like the kids were saved, but they were never truly themselves again. As the little girl was kind of narrating, was like some people even were able to talk. And when you have such a traumatic experience like that, it kind of changes your life. And so much so that there was a literal gun
Yeah.
in Josh Brolin's dream, which to me that was in my mind of how I was viewing this movie. That's the connection of it. Like here's this ticking time clock with a gun. I'm sure the director has his own meaning about it, but that's the way I took it. And so I feel like there was a lot of like, I feel like there were themes of the kids' reactions or the kids' mental state or any person's mental state, because even Josh Brolin with a parent, um, like revolving around like the feelings that you would have potentially in a school shooting.
See, but I also think that you're right, because that may be the reason why he wrote it, but he's also stated that he's left a lot of things ambiguous in the film so that people can pull their own interpretations from
Mhm.
what. So I think that you're right too. I think that's why this movie is the way that it is, because it speaks to so many different people about so many different things. And I'd be so curious to hear so many different takeaways other than ours. Cause like I didn't even think about that. But you're right.
Yeah.
Like the gun like totally makes sense. Like I totally get that. But then like you didn't see what I saw. So I wonder how many other takeaways are out there that this film has to offer that just haven't been explored by the right person who has those experiences to make those connections.
Yeah, and also like I mean, as far as the literal sense of the movie, there were a lot of Easter eggs kind of alluding to the fact that a witch was behind this. They literally wrote it in red paint on Julia Garner's
Mhm.
car that saying that she was a witch. Like technically that was the biggest like we told you right from the beginning that
Yeah.
a witch was involved, just she wasn't the witch. Excuse me. How do you feel about that reveal? Like it was like aside from yes, there's a lot of like themes surrounding this movie, but taking it literally, that it was a witch doing all these, and they were trying to stop the witch. Aside from her dying, I go to that particular part of the movie in a second. But the fact that the twist was a witch was behind the disappearing of the kids. How do you feel about that?
I was fine with it because we always knew that there was some sort of supernatural event, even leading up to before this reveal, with the principal going crazy. Like we saw him go crazy before we learned what happened.
Right.
And obviously the kids disappearing, like that's weird. And then I was expecting there was gonna have to be some sort of supernatural element. I was fine with it. I thought I mean, a witch doing weird witch things, whatever. Like suspension of disbelief. Like to me it was fine.
Yeah.
It made sense. And then like how we got to the ending of how he figured it out. I mean, they showed him from the very beginning as being a very like vigilant kid, like being very
Yeah.
being like paying attention to details and like real noticing what's happening. So to me, when he put it together, I thought that was good. I mean, it was
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that he put it together. I mean, he was literally told. I mean, he was observant of how to like reverse it on her demise. But I mean, he was told, like, don't tell, which is could leaning to the in a way child abuse, where it's like, don't tell the people at home,
yeah,
don't tell the people at school what's going on at home. Stay quiet. What we're doing here is, is meaningful, whatever the case is. Like, he was literally feeding all the kids and being complacent and purposely not getting anyone involved because he was being quote unquote a good boy rather than like, you know, revealing what was truly going in. It was a theme of child abuse in a way.
yeah, like literally knowing that he's doing something wrong, but feeling like he doesn't have any other choice but to
Right.
do with the people who are in charge of taking care of him. He's like, well, I don't want to. I mean, he's still a child. Like he still lives. He has to live with. I have to do what these people tell me to do, even though I know deep down that this is wrong.
Right. Yeah. And I think they did a really good job like with that kid actor in general of
Yeah,
kind of playing that role of like in the beginning he was very quiet. It looked like he truly I was convinced that he truly did not know what was going on.
hmm
In all actuality, he knew exactly what was going on, but he was basically told not to say anything and kind of be complicit to all of the nefarious activities that were happening. So much so that what did he steal everyone's lunch boxes? Is that what I remember? I forgot what he did. How the witch was able to collect all the DNA.
Oh, he all the signs on their cubbies. He took all they all had like hand drawn signs with their names on them, and he ripped them all off, and then he used those as their personal. She needed like a personal item from them.
That's right. That's right. And then the ending of it, which I feel like I'm still somewhat processing, because for me it was a complete tonal shift of the movie. That kind of like it literally took me out of the movie and be like, wait, what's happening right now? Like she was literally flaring her arms around.
Yeah.
Like like Kermit the Frog, like bulldozing through people's yards and homes as comedically I don't know, maybe 27. How many kids? Maybe
17
kids.
Thought it was 17.
17. Maybe 17 kids. Either way, like a few kids literally zooming down, chasing her, ultimately ripping her apart. It was kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny because it's like
I laughed.
Yeah, because it's like, well, they're gonna get her, like that this is her end, like they figured it out. But then, like, why have it be this? I think it's a great, to me, it was a great subversion of expectations. Like you would expect, like where we are, like maybe something dramatic to happen, or like maybe mildly funny. But no, they went like campy funny, like full campy funny. I mean, even towards the end when Josh Brolin's going down into the basement and like he's searching through all the kids, and all of a sudden Aunt Gladys is like, I got you, bitch. Like she just I mean, there was quite a few moments that were like that are just really good. When Paul the cop is chasing the stoner guy, and he just after he sees like, you don't have any needles, nope. He gets him with a needle, and he just fucking checks him like, boom, just lights out. I was like, holy shit. Or even reverse when he stabs him again in the face with the needles. Oh my god.
Yeah, I honestly, the guy who played the crackhead did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I think I read like Zach Cregger, like he like really loved working with him, and that he's gonna be the lead when he does Resident Evil.
Wait, Zach Cregger's doing Resident Evil?
I thought that was confirmed. I could be wrong.
His next project? That'd be kind of nuts.
Yeah, like
I kind of wish he wouldn't. But to be honest, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, just according to Deadline.
Yeah, expected to come out September of 2026. Yeah, starring Austin Abrams. That's okay. I wish he didn't.
Why?
But
you don't think so? I think, from all the interviews I've seen, that it's not gonna be like the early 2000s one. These are gonna be like strict adaptations strictly from the game, like more game focused, a movie that's more of a love letter to the games.
And I hope that's what it is. I mean, right now, Zach Cregger has proven himself as a very entertaining, innovative, like genre horror director, and he's making some great stuff out there. So him tackling Resident Evil, I'm interested now because he's attached to it. That being said, I feel like I would love to see more of his original work, very similar to how Jordan Peele's been operating. Like we have Get Out, Us, and Nope, and they're all great original titles. And so far, he's done great work with original horror movies. I would love to see him continue to do that instead of kind of latching onto an IP that so far has not giving us really a good Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, they've been like semi decent action movies.
Yes, and there's also the the Resident Evil TV series that came out on Netflix a few years ago, and that was a bust.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have not been able to crack the code. And I would hate to see his name attached to something that is also not Like the track record isn't great, but if there was a man to do the job as far as in the horror genre, then yes, he is a good. He has my interest to at least be interested in watching the new Resident Evil movie.
Yes, and I think just given on his interviews and just like seeing the two movies that he's written and directed, like I have faith that it'll be good.
Yeah, I can agree to that. But back to weapons, I think again, I think the ending of the movie was a complete tonal shift that it did pull me out of it.
Like
I
too
did
much.
laugh.
Yeah.
I did think it was like comedic in a way of how that kind of played out, but it was it to me just came out of nowhere. And what's weird about it is that I had an appreciation for that type of tonal shift in Barbarian. I think it worked better, but I didn't really land with me in Weapons because he did something very similar, just not maybe as wacky, but he definitely went bonkers for Barbarian toward the end of the movie.
See, but I felt like Barbarian had a consistent like comedic through line,
That's
especially
fair.
with Justin Long's character throughout the entire thing. I mean, like just searching through people's shit and like going before he goes downstairs. He's like, I'm a man, damn it. I'm not scared. Like I feel like when he launches Tessa's laptop, like there's like a bunch of little moments throughout that movie that I guess this movie kind of was the same, but this I felt like it was more of a drastic shift than it was
Yes,
in Barbarian.
that's a good point. Um, but yeah, that's right. We were talking about Austin Abrams. Him as a crackhead was so good, even to the point where he was like just casually just stealing little kids' backpack, taking an iPad, going to the nearest pawn shop, haggling for like 10, 15 bucks just to go out and just buy more drugs with it. Like he was unabashedly like he's like, no man, I'm not doing this stuff. And then he's like, you got any needles there? Nope. And then easy needle, it's just right there.
He's like,
Like he's very convincing.
yes.
And then also the sheriff, Alden Ehrenreich, was a classic piece of shit. Like I feel like he was. I mean, he was even being made fun of by his boss, who was his father-in-law. Like I don't think like I feel like he's a character that always had something to prove, but was never measured up to do any of that. Like he was constantly failing himself and the people around him.
Yeah.
Even though he was trying to be better, but he always made the wrong choices. Which was interesting again because again, none of those themes, none of those character traits really applied to the movie itself. The only one that actually did any legwork was actually Josh Brolin's character because his main directive was he was being obsessive over finding his child. And as a parent, makes complete sense.
I think that relates to your analogy of like school shootings. Think about but like parents who deal with those kind of trauma, like that trauma becomes their life, and like
Right.
and either trying to understand it or trying to figure it out, and rightfully so. Like I mean, that was my kid. Fuck yeah, I would do the same exact thing. So it was
Yeah.
interesting to see that explored through his character. Once again, something I didn't. That was a connection I connected with the other ones, but I didn't really think of that connection. But yeah, that one really makes sense. Him finding the gun, like, oh, I finally found I found the gun. I found what I was looking for.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good point. And also, like, I like the connection where he's like if they're just drawing a straight line, and you have like, uh, like him like pulling out a map and like trying to put the pieces together. I think that was kind of fun to watch with that as well. And then I feel like some of the other stuff was either entertaining or a distraction to the overall plot of the movie. And I
Mm.
guess to your point, it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Like you can kind of lean into the themes, lean into the setups, but when it comes down to the main plot of the movie, it really just comes down to Josh Brolin's character and when we get to the character of Alex. Because like even the stuff that was happening with the cop and with the crack addict didn't mean anything. Eventually they were just captured.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they were just part of the mystery.
I love that. I mean, that whole scene where Josh Brolin just fucking throws him around. Like he keeps coming at him and he just keeps launching him around the house.
You made a really good point earlier about like the scene. The overall theme was with addiction. Josh Brolin was like taken over, correct?
Yes. For a,
but
for
it
a
was
little
only
bit in the end.
sorry.
For a little bit in the end, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like he was able to come to it after the spell was broken.
Yeah, because I think maybe because he wasn't under the influence as long. Because
Right.
I think the whole purpose was Aunt Gladys was like stealing their youth so that she could live on longer. We
Mhm.
know, I mean, we never really get a full explanation of like how long she's been alive or
Right.
like what is like how often does she have to do this to the other to kids or whoever.
Which was
So
another part of the movie which I didn't really I mean, I don't need to be spoon-fed details, but that was, like, for me, one that, like, okay, so we're just led to believe that she's just doing this to survive, period, end of story. We're not being told that directly, but that is, like, that's what I took out of it. Like, I feel like it was little explanation of why she was doing this, and the movie didn't really have any reason or have any care to kinda answer that question.
see, because I think it just relied on everything else, and like that was just like passing info. Like that whole scene is probably just like passing information just to help push the narrative. But it and like the movie that he was trying to tell, like it's not as important
Yeah, I guess.
because like a lot of the literal plotline shit is not really explained.
No, it's not. Which I guess that's kind of why some of the parts of this movie just like I wanted more out of it
Yeah,
because I feel like I wasn't again, maybe the I just wasn't being told what was happening. I don't necessarily need that, but I feel like in some cases it was too ambiguous
Mm.
to kind of leave to your interpretation and it just didn't land the way that I would like to. It's like not like a I'm not looking for a perfect story. I like to have my own inferences here as we're having this conversation, but a little bit of detail would have also helped as well.
yeah,
Like in that sense.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, to your point, yeah, between Josh Brolin and the character, like yeah, that's right. So I think going along the lines of themes of addiction, since Josh Brolin wasn't under the influence that long, he was able to come to very quickly and like rush to go find his child at the end of the movie. Whereas, which I'm going to assume that maybe the police officer, the parents, the children, even the drug addict, like they might not recover from this event. Like they might be these mindless zombies that can be caused, to your point, by the addiction of it all.
It just I guess it depends on how far they fall down the rabbit hole because they
Right.
Alex or I think it's a little girl or somebody
It's a dare, yeah,
whoever the narrator is, it says at the end that some kids had even started to talk again. So
yeah,
like I guess it's gonna take and that's like an addiction. Like some people come out of it right away, especially if they haven't been in it for so long. But if it's something that you've been dealing with for a really long time, it's gonna take you a long time to even remember what your baseline is.
yeah, yeah. And honestly, I never really thought of it that way until we're having this conversation. But yeah, I guess there were a lot of underlying themes of addiction throughout the movie, rather than just focusing on like the addiction that Julia Garner's character was literally having. Um,
Well, I think it was just, I think it's all of those, but I
yeah.
think to your point too, it's like all of those things.
Um, quickly talking about the box office, this movie has been overperforming to overwhelming expectations. The movie is currently been out for 2 weeks now and has been number one for 2 weeks. Only suffering, not really suffering, but only having a really not not a large second drop um, in in week number two. So a lot of people are coming back for repeat viewings, and the numbers don't lie. The movie had a budget of 38, I believe. Let's see.
Look it up.
Yeah, the movie had a budget of $38 million, and it opened to $43.5 million. Number one, at the time of this recording, with 2 weeks almost going into its third week, it has collected $95.1 million domestically, $66.7 million internationally, with a grand total of $161.8 million worldwide. That is nuts. Like
That's
that
great.
is the
That's great money.
that that's great. Yeah, that's great money. That is like the reason why you understand like when they're looking like I think part of it is the marketing. The marketing was so good around this movie. They generated hype off of that image alone. Like people were so captivated by like what happened to these children? Like and why are they in this weird formation and why are they running? And I think maybe not everyone knew about the bidding war, but I think a lot of people did see Barbarian. So a lot of people were curious of what his second movie was going to be, and I think just the great marketing behind it, and the fact that horror has been great this summer, or just this year so far. We had a lot of great horror movies coming out this year,
Also,
and like
WB.
a lot of
This
people,
another banger from WB.
another banger from WB. Yeah, they are killing it this year. I believe I saw an article that they broke a record of being, I don't want to say the first studio to do it because I don't think it's correct, but it was like the first movie studio in a long time for to have like 6 consecutive movies open above $40 million and opening at number 1. Because you had a Minecraft movie, which is Warner Brothers. You also have Sinners, which is Warner Brothers. You had Final Destination, which was Warner Brothers. You had Weapons, which is Warner Brothers. And I'm sure I'm missing one, probably a big tentpole. Oh,
I
and you have Superman.
I
That was
haven't.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, it is 6 consecutive films open with over 40 million at the domestic North American box office.
Do you have those movies?
Yes, I do. Minecraft opened at 162, 950 globally. Sinners opened at 48 million. Final Destination Bloodline opened up at 51.6. F1 at 57 million.
F1.
Superman at 125 million, and Weapons at 43 million.
I forgot about F1. Yeah, Warner Brothers is having a great year. They're also every one of those. Well, we didn't watch a Minecraft. I'm not watching that movie. It didn't look good and not a movie for me. However, all the other ones were also great movies.
Yeah, 100%. Which all we've
on top of
reviewed.
that.
Yeah, we reviewed all these actually.
All but Minecraft, but yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know. What do you think is a contributing factor to a lot of people going out and seeing this movie?
I think I like how ambiguous it is. Like where it's an entertaining narrative throughout, but there's a lot of underlying themes that the movie's trying to give you that either lends to rewatch it to the same people rewatching, or people go, yo, that movie was weird. Like I'll go see it again, and then I'll go see it with you. Like then them bringing their friends. Like I think it's a movie that causes conversation that is causing people to either go back to the movie theater, bring their friends, or them go back and rewatch themselves.
Yeah, and also, I mean, a horror movie is already a great driver for theaters in general.
Yeah, and then it's an original film. Like it's an original story. It's also refreshing that it's not an IP that's doing so well. I think that also lends to it as well.
I think also there was so much hype around the movie even before it came out, but like I think I definitely give credit to the marketing of it because I think they marketed very well to drive this mystery, and also they were calling it like a horror masterpiece, which I don't agree with. I don't think it was a masterpiece, but they were touting it as such, and so I think all those factors like, oh, I got to see what they're talking about, and then for people who like Barbarian, they're like, oh, same guy. I definitely need to see what this movie's all about. And it came in a big bad way too. And even like right now, as we're looking at 161, where did Sinners land out of curiosity? Sinners,
Sinners
another horror original. 365 million at the end of the day for Sinners. Another horror movie from Warner Brothers. So like, yeah, if anything, if Warner Brothers is not taking note, is that like keep investing into your original horror stories.
Yeah.
Because they're doing extremely well for themselves.
They're doing something right.
Or even they're doing something right. Continue doing horror because even Final Destination was that as well. But yeah, let's dive into our final thoughts and our 5-star rating on Weapon.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the originality. Initially I didn't like how ambiguous it was, but then like the more the movie sits on me, like I think about like, oh, what did he mean by that? Like, so not every movie is going to be 100% entertaining, but it's nice when one leaves you thinking. Like it leaves you thinking, making me want to go rewatch it to see like what some of the other themes I missed and some of the other connections that I didn't get. And I think that there is a story to be told here, and I thought it was great. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5. Interesting. I was not gonna give it as high of a rating as 4.5. I was more leaning toward a 3.5.
Ooh,
Uh, but we were but, like, I mean, if we're going along the middle, I 4
4.
stars for me is a solid, like, middle ground here, because there were a lot of, like, I think walking out of the theater, it was a 3.5. Having this conversation brought it up to a 4.
Okay.
Like, that's kinda how I see it, because there were a lot of factors that I wasn't really thinking about, and I think that's part of the allure of the movie, like we were just explaining, of, like, the movie sits with you a little bit longer. You might have these visceral reactions to the film, because it was unexpected, especially for myself, as we mentioned, the complete tonal shift at the very end of the movie. But when you think about it, there's a lot that this movie was trying to say. And to your point, when you really simmer with it and kind of linger on some of the ideas, you can kind of formulate what the meaning behind this movie is and what it's trying to say. And I think there is a little bit of repeatability to it as well. Because now on a second viewing, you're going to be watching it, picking up the details, either going along what your theory is or picking up the fact of like how many more which details were they planting from the very beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
or like the overall story, or like how does one part of the story maybe feel differently now knowing how the events of it kind of meaning for the whole bigger arc of the story,
Mm.
or it continues just to be nothing at all. So I do agree with you. I think over time this movie's going to sit well with audiences, and it's going to garners a lot of a lot of conversation, and that's honestly what a good movie does.
Mhm.
It's like, here's the movie we have, and we're gonna continue talking. We're gonna have a lot more to say once it's all over, and have conversations like these. Um, so I guess we're sitting on a
4.
4 as a box office bingers rating, which is pretty solid. Like
Yeah.
this was a pretty still a well done, and I do agree with you. The cinematography was really good in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I think another solid horror movie. And it's funny because even when we started this podcast, and I've said this many times before, I'm not big into the horror genre. I think over time, though, we've been reviewing a lot of great horror movies and kind of turned me around on the idea of the genre altogether.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great stuff on here that we've explored this year and years prior as well. One of my favorite movies last year was The Substance, and that's technically a
That's
body horror
a
movie
body horror of all things, a body
of all
horror.
things.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't know if I'm just being more open to it, but like, or they're just getting better, or just being more recognized more than they have been, in the past.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
totally agree. I mean, I'm all for. I just love movies in general. So, but it's
true,
cool. I agree with you. It was cool to see your kind of evolution. I mean, you went on the whole. I don't remember if it was last year, or the year before, where you went like on a horror binge. Like you watched like all the original horror, like the main classics, and
yeah,
like through there, I felt like you've just garnered like a deep appreciation for the genre itself.
yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of classics now. There's some horror genres like I dipped my toe into like Jason, which like I watched the first two and I was like, I get it. I don't need to watch all 50 of them.
I'm
The
good.
like I get the idea. Like then they eventually they go to space and he goes to New York or whatever all the other random sequels are. It's like I get his vibe. And then I like Freddy Krueger a little bit more, so I watched like the first one, and then I think I ended up watching three in that series, the ones that people say were good. I really like Chucky. I watched all of those movies.
That's so funny.
Uh, for whatever reason, is like this is so weird. I'm kind of into it. Um, and so like yeah, and then there was like I never really dipped into like the classic, like the Universal monsters. I haven't really messed with those movies. I'm not sure if I would like them because they're probably going to be a lot slower paced.
Yeah.
But there's also other movies that were classics that I didn't really enjoy. Like, I'm not a huge fan of The Shining, and I wasn't a huge fan of the original Exorcist. Um, but I like the first Halloween,
Yeah.
but I never really watched the other Halloweens because I figured it's going to be the same
Yeah.
thing.
It's all the same.
It's um, but yeah, it's kind of fun, kind of exploring a genre that you once didn't really care for, but now very similar to how when we review our foreign films. you're kind of opening the door to more variety of films that you can enjoy. And then once you kind of lean into it just a little bit, then take a chance on some of them. Some of them will not all of them are going to be great,
No.
but when the great ones are great, then it gives you appreciation for how good it is because you watched several bad ones,
Yep.
but also just gives you hope in the genre itself. It's like, oh, there's something here that I will give a chance on another one. Like I also watched Hard Eyes the other day as well. It wasn't in our What You Watching, but like it was like one of those like it was a little bit cheesy. We leaned into the Valentine's Day shtick of a slasher film, and it was just what it was supposed to be. Not much to really talk about there, but it's just like yeah, it's one of those movies where you have a slasher, you have a who's behind the mask, and there's a whole bunch of Valentine's Day puns sprinkled all over that movie, and that's what the movie was, and I was like, yeah, you did your job, like a solid 90 minutes of entertainment, and that's it. But anyway, that's our spoiler review on Weapons, and that is all the show we have for you guys this week. If you want more from us, you can follow us on all of our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Box Office Bingers, our X and Letterboxd page at Box Office Binger, and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office _ Bingers. The fun doesn't stop here; it continues on all of our social media channels. Be sure to give each one of those a follow. We give you the box office breakdown every Sunday. We tell you what's new to streaming every Friday. You can see our lovely faces on YouTube and TikTok and our little shorts that we put out on our several social media channels. So just give all those a watch. You can also see our reviews on Letterboxd. So yeah, a whole bunch of fun there, movie fun stuff. Ernesto, tell our lovely listener what they can look forward to next week.
Next week, we kind of mentioned it in the show earlier, but we're going to be reviewing Neja 2. This movie is taking the world by storm. It is getting an English dubbed American release, and it's coming to theaters getting a limited release in theaters next week. I already booked my ticket. I'm kind of excited for it. I'm not excited for this 2.5 hour runtime that I signed myself up for, but we'll see. It's supposed to be good, so hopefully it'll be worth the watch.
Yeah, just to give a little context, this movie is currently the highest grossing movie of 2025. And this movie kind of came out of nowhere because I remember reading an article that says Nijai 2 has surpassed Inside Out 2 as being the highest grossing animated film of all time. And I said, what? What do you mean this movie just came out? Well, what do you mean? Like this movie that came out of nowhere is now the highest grossing animated movie of all time. I don't believe it. At the time of this recording, maybe the numbers might go up a little bit because it's about to have an English dub American re-release. But domestically, the movie has made $20 million. Internationally, the movie has made $1.8 billion with a grand total of $2.15 billion worldwide. Most of its revenue came from China, which where obviously it's where actually almost a good majority of it. So only from China was $1.8 billion from China. The rest came from other countries around the world and the United States. So the Chinese really love this movie.
Apparently it's got like really beautiful visuals. I was just reading that one review was saying that there's a single 40-second sequence took over a year to animate.
Wow.
It's like the animation is just like jaw dropping, especially in the fight scenes. It dives into Chinese mythology based on the 16th century novel Investiture of the Gods. It's action packed with humor, depth, family identity. This is all according to IMDb. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to see this.
Yeah, this movie has been on my radar since the article came out, and I've been itching to watch this movie because of all the hype around it. And I'm happy that we're finally. Because I thought I was going to come on like video on demand, so we're going to have to watch it at home. But I was pleasantly surprised to hear that A24 actually picked up the U.S. Distribution rights for the English dub, and so the fact that it's going back into theaters, I'm super excited for that. So I will be watching the first movie, which is currently on Netflix, and yeah, it's currently. I think I read it's currently on Netflix right now because this is a sequel. So definitely want to see what the first movie's all about, and then seeing what the hype is around the sequel.
It's gonna be fun.
Gonna be fun. And that, of course, is gonna be our foreign film of the month. And just because it's tied to the box office, I think that next week will also be a great time to do our summer box office recap. We've been talking about it throughout the summer. I feel like it's currently kind of slowing down a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna kind of go over all the big summer movies this summer and kind of see how well it did in the box office and what does that mean for the industry, how the summer did, and kind of that summer conversations. This is like our third or fourth time we've done it so far. We always had a great time with these episodes. So
It's always
be
fun.
sure to come back next week. Yeah, it's always fun. So be sure to come back next week for all of that. It's a lot of movie fun. You're not going to regret it. But I thank each and every one of you for listening to us just talk about movies. We really do appreciate it. Come back next week for more movie fun. You're not going to regret it. And for that, I've been your host, Matt Diaz.
Oh, I've been Ernesto Santos. See ya.